I want to share a picture with you that God gave me 2 weeks ago in our staff meeting in the morning on a Monday morning. I was in a time of worship. I just had the Bible open in front of me, and I was doing that thing where we read it and we're not really reading it, and we're just kind of reading it over and over again, and it's not really going in. My thoughts were elsewhere, and God genuinely gave me this picture in this moment, and this is completely unrehearsed, but I think hopefully maybe this is going to speak to someone. And so God showed me this picture. I'm putting gloves on because I'm using fire. Yes. God gave me this picture, right, of this piece of metal. And this piece of metal is me. And maybe it's you. And so there's been times in life where things just get intense. The temperature gets turned up, and things are just really, really hot, and just really hard to deal with. And the pressure is on, and you just feel like you just need some time out just to cool down. And then you find yourself just placed against a hard surface. And then something else happens, as if things weren't bad enough. And it's always when we're in a rush or we're stressed that something else happens, right? And so maybe in my life, in childhood, one of my parents died. And that was really hard. And then my other parent, the relationship is just really difficult, and there's a lot of pain and a lot of trauma. And then I find myself in many ways raising my two sisters younger than me, and that's just really hard, taking responsibility at a young age. And then I'm placed in a step family where there's just more challenge and more trauma and more things to be exposed, and you just kind of feel squeezed again. And then you go into the workplace, and that's really challenging. And a few years ago, I was leading a church. When I started, there were 2 other pastors, and within a few months, I was the only pastor. And then, there's just huge transition and huge challenges to overcome. And then the church burns down, so the fire's back. It's a true story. And so one thing after another, and then recently, the closest thing to a parent that I've had in a long time, my father-in-law, he got sick, and then he died. And actually, everyone on my mum's side of my family, literally everyone has died. And then some good friends have died. And things are just really hard at the moment. And so the picture God gave me was that actually, this is me, right? But my identity as a way of just navigating life and moving forward, my identity was in the hard thing that I was placed against, and the hammer that just repeatedly keeps coming, and just one blow after the other, and in the fire. These are the things that actually in some ways I've placed my identity in. And this is really vulnerable, for me to share, because I've been processing some of this stuff recently. But what I didn't see is that although I've placed my identity in those things, in the wrong things, this is who I am. And actually, when you take this and when you look at your life, and like God says to the Israelites, you need to remember what I've done in your history, but you need to see it through my eyes and not yours. Because when you do, God can create something beautiful. I think this is quite beautiful. Even as beautiful as this Alaskan Inuit Ulu. You can ask me about that at the end. Because something with a purpose could only be created through a process. I hope that speaks to someone today, because God has spoken to me through that about where I place my identity.